So, hello everybody. I hope you can already hear me. If you can hear me, please give me any sign in the chat box. Yes, that's cool. Perfect. So, we are almost ready to start. I see people joining. That's good. So I guess 31, that's pretty much what we can expect here in this session. So I would like to welcome you to track A, or the trial of our track A. Myself, I'm Niels Feldmann. Most of you should actually know me. I'm running the program at KIT in Karlsruhe. And today here in this track A, I'm your host. And I will also be your host on Monday. So we will have the 5 minutes presentation by the teams, and then the 5-minute Q&A. We probably, you can fill in your questionnaires, your feedback sheets. Maybe if there's any immediate comments, we can do so. Otherwise, let's say we just move from presentation to presentation. When you are on stage, please switch on your video. Although you're probably only visible in a tiny little window, but it makes it a little bit more personal if you can see the ones who are speaking. Also, you've already discovered the chat box, so there's not much to say. So let's get started with the first team, Team Takeda. The problem is that I don't know the names of people who are in Team Takeda. So I only see your names at the moment who will apply for, getting on stage. Maybe Daniele, you can handle this. Can you yeah. Hello.
Hi.
How many people can I expect from Team Takeda to present?
4, maybe.
4 people. Okay, wonderful. Yeah. So waiting to enter the stage. I don't see here requests at the moment. Hundai. Ah, here she comes. Hello, wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah, so hello, Team Takeda. So I guess you were waiting for 2 more people, if this is correct, for you to get started?
Well, the 2 of us will be presenting.
Okay, wonderful. So then we are ready to go.
Yeah.
So I would introduce you on Monday as Takeda as a pharmaceutical company based in Japan, and they issued a challenge to a joint team of the KIT, the Kyoto Institute of Technology in Japan, and the Hasse-Plattner Institute in Germany. So the stage is yours, and we're curious to hear your presentation.
I'll try to share my screen. Okay. And are you able to see my screen? What happened?
Nestlé should be ready to use the feedback form, provide any kind of feedback. Everybody else is also welcome, but Team Nestlé is on duty, so to speak. All right? So whenever you want to start.
You all can see my screen, right? Because right now I can't see anything.
No, we can't see your screen at the moment.
No, you cannot.
No.
Okay, let me try again.
And your colleague, I forgot the name, she's Sumjai, she's also not on stage anymore.
Minagi. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Perfect. And Minagi is not on stage.
Sorry.
Okay.
There she is.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Cool, so get started.
Go for it, Minagi.
Welcome to the full presentation of Team Bushido. We are students from HBA and KIT from 5 different countries and work together with Takeda. Takeda is Asia's leading pharmaceutical company with a long tradition. So let's enjoy. Can you guess what is behind this number? This is the total number of patients suffering from diagnosed mental disorders in Japan. This is 3% of total Japanese population. It's too big. These are the people we are working to help, because our challenge is how might we sense and prevent mental disorder through networks of humans and machines. To understand the challenge, we first understand what mental disorders are and what sensing and preventing them means. So, as mental disorders, we understanding behavioral or mental patterns that causes significant distress and impairment of personal functioning. It's important to note that mental disorders are more than just feeling sad. The life of nearly every affected person we talk to has been seriously, negatively impacted by their mental disorders. We have learned that there are great differences between countries in regards to the willingness to speak about mental disorders. Well, we found that the people we talked to in Germany and the US were surprisingly willing and open to talk. But talking about mental disorders in Japan seemed to be a more complicated issue. So, next. The sensing. We mean detected mental disorders as early as possible. However, we specifically do not aim to diagnosis. By preventing, we decided to not target keeping mental disorders from happening. There are many potential causes for mental disorders, many of whom we cannot influence. Instead, we want to focus on keeping symptoms from becoming worse. Then we interviewed experts, affected persons, and their close contact to gain an understanding of how people already sense and work to prevent mental disorders. Additionally, we talked to individuals from Japan to understand more about the specific situation in Japan. From the insights we gathered, we built 2 personas. Let's see.
So meet Joe. Joe is a young student staying away from home in a new country for his education. He's going through this phase where he's extremely tired, very exhausted, long sleeping, frequent headaches. He keeps ignoring his symptoms. And what does not help is Joe's irregularity in sleeping and eating habits. Finally, his symptoms get so worse that he feels that he's dying. And that's when he goes and approaches for help. And his diagnosis was depression and anxiety, a diagnosis that takes his family by surprise because they did not anticipate it could be them that could be having it, a mental health disorder. So this led to us thinking, how can we help Joe? How can we help Joe be more aware, give him power to change something about his routine, about himself? From our desk research, we realized that self-reflection has a positive effect in prevention of depression. And even for helping people already diagnosed with depression, it helps them manage their condition better. For this, usually diary is recommended, but from our interviews with other people, we realized that diary is not something that can be maintained or managed by people who are not in their best self or more close to normal. So we come with the idea of reflection assistant. This will be a smart device. It could be a smart mirror or a smart clock, which will ask you a few questions, the user, Joe, in the morning or evening. The timing can be adjusted by the user. The few self-reflective questions that can be recorded, and it can be accessed at a later point as well. This data can also be used by, analyzed by AI using sentiment analysis to give feedback on the development of Joe's moods and his temperaments. However, we are working on the prototype, and by Monday, I'm pretty sure we'll come with good feedback for our prototype on Reflection Assistant. Going forward to our second persona, Nobuko, which was derived from a series of interviews from women diagnosed with postpartum depression. So here is Nobuko. She's a young mother diagnosed with postpartum depression with no prior history of mental illness. Nobuko was very happy with her pregnancy and she was looking forward to motherhood. But when she delivered her baby, she expresses that she did not feel the love. She did not fall in love with the child as she expected to, or she sees people around her. And what is worse is she did not sense the support that she was expecting from her husband. And all this was just a downhill for Nobuko. To help Nobuko, we came up with the idea of link and love. Now, link and love, the main concept of link and love is to monitor the bonding of the parents with their baby. It could be a baby wearable that could be clipped on baby clothes or baby accessories such as diapers and pacifiers. And it will detect and record interactions of the parents with the baby. And this can be viewed as a graph on a daily or a weekly basis. We certainly wanted to understand how comfortable are parents, young families, with the idea of using a baby wearable, and we conducted a short survey. And we got a very positive feedback. People are comfortable using baby wearable as far as it doesn't harm the baby. Now we wanted to understand, are they okay having AI intrude and analyze their interaction with the baby? And even this had a very positive feedback for us. Most of the people do realize that interactions are key for the growth and development of a child. And they were very happy to use a device which would help them or support them in this aspect. Now we decided to step up our game and add one more functionality to our Link and Love, which was how do you feel questionnaire. This will be 2 sets of questionnaires for mom and dad. And the idea is they're able to document their feeling and emotions and what they're going through. And this also helps in monitoring their mental well-being and understanding each other. And again, a feedback on this functionality gave us very good results. In fact, much more positive results, because it was clear that most of the couples realized that the first weeks postpartum are really hard on their relationship. Spoken conversations get more challenging. So having the option to communicate with each other at a different level was very welcoming for them. So with this, I would like to thank you. I think we have 2 good ideas and we might be onto something. So we hope that with continued teamwork and a sound support from Takeda, we'll develop this into working prototype. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Team Takeda. Just as a quick side note, this was almost 8 minutes, but there were a little bit of some hiccups with the technology. So I guess you're pretty much fine on Monday if you're practicing it. Okay. Cool. Okay, so thank you very much. And you can use the comments side, the comments box to give an applause to the team. Well done. Thank you. Okay, so on Monday there would be a Q&A session. So most likely we will see questions here on the chat box, and I will read them out to you. Or if I miss anything important, Daniele would let me know. Basically, I would ask you the questions. And now, as the Q&A session, so to speak, starts, I would like to ask the next team, which is Team BLM, to come on stage already. To get prepared, yes, there's the first one joining. So they can prepare in the background while I would ask you the questions. Maybe in the chat box, if there's anything extremely important that you would like me to tell the team that you did not put into the feedback form, please let me know now. Otherwise, I guess you're pretty much fine for Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you very much.
So I can exit.
Yeah. So Agatha and Finn, it's the 2 of you presenting?
Yep.
Okay. Good. Okay. So I guess let me reset the watch here. So thanks a lot, yes, for your attention. And now on Monday, I would very briefly say that next on stage, it's a collaboration between the Karlsruhe Institute of Technology and Warsaw University of Technology on a project provided by the Museum of the State of Baden in Baden-Württemberg. And it's a challenge about the future of museums. And then Phil is out. Phil, we lost Phil. Finn, sorry. So let's give him a second to rejoin. Yes, and then I would Agatha, I would hand over to you. Yeah.
Okay.
So, Finn, is there any problem with the technology?
I had to give permission to the system to share my screen for Chrome, so I had to reboot Chrome.
I see. Okay.
Sorry.
But this should be set for Monday now, I guess.
Yes, I guess so.
Okay, so ready when you are.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, I'd like to start with a question. And everyone who agrees, please write a 1 in the chat, and everyone who disagrees, a 0. Okay. Who regularly reads the news and discusses current topics with other people? Okay, quite a lot of 1s. Now I have one more question. Who has ever done something like this in a museum context? Okay, seems like there's quite a big difference. But why? If we think about it a little longer, don't the two topics actually fit together very well? And exactly this gap is the key challenge of our project. We're Finn and Agatha from the KIT in Warsaw University, and we are the Team Badisches Landesmuseum. Let's take a look at the core of our challenge. How might we create an engaging digital platform which is present in our everyday lives to interact with each other and to learn, discuss, and co-create together? When I think about discussions, I think of people raging in comment sections on the internet who express themselves extensively and interact with random strangers. The willingness to discuss and interact with people has increased through digitalization. Why can't we translate these potentials onto a museum's context? Things we started looking into were questions like, what actually makes interaction attractive? Why does someone do things he actually doesn't have to do? For example, being in a sports club. Where is the need of people to engage concerning current events? How can we make a digital experience feel like a visit to IKEA? But for who are we actually designing the solution? Let's take a look at our target group. With our challenge, we received 3 target groups that we were supposed to take a closer look at. Young retirees, young families, and students. It doesn't take long to realize that these groups seem very diverse. Interesting enough, we identified several linkages between the different target groups. But now let's take a more detailed look at one of our personas. As most of us are students or were students in the past, we would like you to meet our student, Searching Sarah.
Hey, I'm Sarah. I'm 20 years old and I just started my bachelor in sports science. I still live at home with my parents, but also earn my own money by waiting tables at a local cafe.
Great to meet you, Sarah. Tell us a few things about your life. How does a typical Friday night look like for you?
Oh well, before Corona, I really liked going out with my friends for a drink or to a restaurant. In general, I really enjoy having my friends around me. I need regular social interaction. Nevertheless, I also need time for me where I'm alone and can rest. For example, watching Netflix.
Are there any things that you are particularly interested in?
Oh, well, if there's something that I discover which is really interesting to me, I devote all my energy towards it. For example, in Corona time, I just started to learn how to bake my own bread. However, I often feel that I don't get the recognition I deserve from others. I often go under in larger groups and don't directly stand out. My parents also aren't that happy with my studies.
Wow, and you're still confident in your path and seem to know what you want.
No, not at all, to be honest. I have the feeling that I haven't really found my path in life. Thinking about it makes me pretty nervous and insecure.
Thank you, Sarah, for your honest answers. So we all met Sarah, and there are 3 things which we find remarkable. She really enjoys having her friends around her. She hasn't really found her path in life yet, and she doesn't stand out in groups. So let's look at the underlying needs from these statements. We can identify 3 key needs. First of all, a sense of belonging. Sarah needs social interaction and wants to have the feeling that she is part of a group or community. Whatever this group might be, the feeling of belonging is important. Secondly, Sarah has a certain need of guidance and orientation. This makes her very interested in different kinds of new input. She constantly tries out new things as Sarah is still looking for purpose in her life. By doing this, she's trying to overcome the resulting feeling of insecurity. And lastly, being valued and accepted. For Sarah, receiving recognition from her surrounding, for example, her parents, is very important. She needs to feel heard and valued by her friends and society in general. Receiving this recognition encourages Sarah in undertaking. Now that you all have a rough overview of the key needs of Sarah, I would like to present to you one of our first prototypes. This is a prototype Club to Be LM. It's a platform which consists of different modules that provide you with courses related to certain topics. For example, food waste and kombucha. All modules consist of 3 different kinds of courses: activities, theory blocks, and interactive parts. The core idea of the platform is that everyone can contribute content to the micro courses. The BLM organizes, advertises, and helps create content. Additionally, the BLM cooperates with celebrities and experts to design and create modules. For example, Pamela Reif has a class called Ancient Sport Workouts, where the BLM provides input about sports 100 years ago, and sports scientists give further input. If you complete 80% of the module, you receive a micro degree on your profile, showing that you accomplished the module. These micro degrees are verified by the museum, and you can show your activity in your CV. Everyone has a profile with demographics, interests, your accomplished micro degrees, and people you follow, so that you see which classes and modules they created. The system creates smart links between the different modules and recommends further modules and courses. After examining our prototype, we actually discovered that while focusing on the one key need, the other key needs of Sarah are also tackled in a certain way. Now that you saw our prototype, you could get the feeling that it might only focus on the needs of Sarah. But especially interesting to us was the discovery that 3 of the 4 key needs of Sarah are also the key needs of the other target groups. The underlying needs are just reflected through other wishes. For example, the young retiree doesn't want to fall in the retirement hole and remain a valuable part of society. The young mother feels the same way. She doesn't want to seem as the mom, but also as the individual with her own relevant wishes. And Sarah wants to be taken serious for her studies, skills, and interests. However, we have also realized that we might need to shift focus on our target groups. During our interviews, we found out that we might want to add certain target groups into consideration. For example, the mid-50-year-olds who finally have the time as the kids are out of the house, while other stakeholders like toddlers and young families and digitally reluctant retirees may lose our focus. Another realization we made after a cycle was that we tend to focus too strongly on solutions for highly educated people. We have to focus stronger on the wide society in our next steps. And hopefully we can talk more about how that went at the winter presentation. But for now, we want to give you one key message on the way. If you're asking yourself right now why the word museum hasn't popped up in the last 6 minutes, then you completely understood what we are trying to achieve, which is to radically rethink the concept of a museum. Thank you to the Badische Landesmuseum for the support and to you all for listening today.
So thank you very much. That went well. For your orientation, that was 7 minutes and 20 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah. On Monday it was exactly 7 minutes, so a little bit longer now. Anyway, yes. So you would get your feedback now. There would be questions, and you would also get your feedback from the Takeda team that just presented before. So, and in the next, for your orientation, this will be your job with the next team. So when you get off the stage as your entire team of 7 students, you would be in charge of giving feedback to the group that is presenting after you, namely the Rohde and Schwarz team. So saying Rohde and Schwarz, I would like to ask the Rohde and Schwarz team to get on stage and get prepared for their presentation. And certainly I will give you the questions on Monday, but today I guess there's no need for this. Right? Thank you very much. So Teresa, I guess you are Okay, Daniele, can you, yes, you can welcome those people from Rohde and Schwarz, because I don't know the names. Thank you. Hi, Paul. Paul?
Hi.
Hello. Okay. Will you present alone, or is this, are there further colleagues?
We will also have another presenter. It's Chantal from the Liu side.
Okay, good. So, but will she join today?
I hope so.
Oh, here she comes. Hello. Hello, Chantal. Hello to Sweden. So I would introduce you on Monday saying that Rohde and Schwarz is a company from the electronics industry, and they challenged you, a team of the HBI in Potsdam and Linköping University in Sweden, and then would hand over to you.
All right.
So I reset my watch, and then we can get started.
President Trump is a total and complete dipshit. Now, see, I would never say these things. Someone else would. Someone like Jordan Peele.
This was deeply, and it probably fooled millions when BuzzFeed posted it on YouTube. At the beginning of this semester, Rohde and Schwarz tasked us with a challenge to help ensure the authenticity of media in an age governed by such things. Our initial thought then was that maybe we could build a system that detects them. So this is what we're not going to talk about today. Instead, we want to talk about the story of two very particular, very simple ideas. But let's take a step back first. In the past 50 years, our means to spread information have seen a monumental change. With the rise of the internet, every one of us can now reach millions. With this much power, though, there comes an equally serious danger: that of manipulation, betrayal, and misuse. Today, emerging technologies such as deepfakes catch the human brain, wired to believe what it sees, off guard. To better understand this, we look to users, customers, and industry experts. Consumers and managers alike were aware of the existence, but totally oblivious to the threat posed by fake media. They consistently underestimated how far deepfake technology has already come and how fast it is progressing. Let's talk about voice cloning.
That would be a horror scenario, but something like this has not happened yet and hopefully will never happen.
As you might imagine, this originally wasn't by Trump, but a high-ranking PR manager. Researchers and fake media experts were very much aware of this. But it is not just us humans struggling to detect these fakes. The current automated approaches to detect them are fighting an uphill battle too. Most often these detectors are pieces of artificial intelligence, trained to distinguish between what's real and fake. Fakers, however, aren't blind to them, so they can basically use these models as a trainer for theirs too. Thus, looking into the future, the experts were utterly afraid of a world dominated by erosion of trust in all media. This goes to show the stark contrast between the future experts describe and the reality users perceive. And this time, we cannot wait for a catastrophe to convince them otherwise. We did however find that even today, it is common practice for PR departments to screen the web for occurrences of their firm continuously. This monitoring acts as a sophisticated search engine targeted at a company's name. Running day and night, it informs them whenever someone posts something about them. Still, these tools are limited to text only. So if the faked face of an executive came up somewhere compromising, text detection wouldn't tell you until someone else makes the connection. Too late. So when it came to ideation, we wanted to learn more about building on what was already there, to extend these social media monitoring tools to faked multimedia content. PR managers shouldn't just be able to search based on keywords, but also based on the faces and voices of their people. The technical aspects of this worked surprisingly well. Even simple facial recognition had astonishing accuracy on both real and fake media. For face recognition, the task sadly seemed a lot harder. However, when we showed a wireframe of such a system to potential users, they surprised us yet again. They clearly wanted to use it, but for totally different reasons than we had imagined. They thought of protecting their companies against, for example, leaks of internal meetings, not about the potential to stop fakes. We take away that such a solution might be bought for reasons relevant today, but used in the future because of its deepfake readiness. Still, the solution can only react to a problem that persists. To prevent more issues arising from fake media, we have to look to where it becomes a problem in the first place, to the consumers sitting on the other side of the screen.
By sharing content online, media consumers contribute to the rapid acceleration of fake news. And in most of the cases, they are not even aware that they, in the moment of sharing, become part of the problem. Therefore, we also saw that prevention of spreading is a critical part of the problem too. That is why we want to introduce our media consumers to here. Along our journey, we have identified multiple personas, each with individual character traits. However, we discovered one outstanding characteristic all groups had in common. They do not trust in media anymore. Our majority group here is the skim news. Those people are aware of fake media and recognize it as a problem, but they do not have time to fact check. Let us take Mary here as a good example. She uses YouTube regularly to inform and entertain herself. Despite her awareness of fake media, she could still share fake content because she would not recognize it as such. That is why we want to help Mary. We want to make sure that she's provided with a verified content by a system she can trust in. Hereby, two things are very important. Mary needs to trust in the source because she doesn't want to build her opinion upon false information, and she needs to trust the verifier because otherwise the verifications would have no meaning to her. Taking Mary's needs seriously, we created a simple prototype to observe the behavior of the people that are like Mary. Our goal was to find out if the test persons value those verification certificates as trustworthy and how those shape the people's course of action. Even if we only tested these prototypes on a very small scale, we gained some interesting insights. The test persons took the warning quite seriously, and in all of the cases, they preferred the original source. However, they would have wished for more details on the verifier's identity. As a follow-up, we then asked ourselves, well, what would have happened if Mary had received a link to a video via a WhatsApp chat that her friend recommends her to watch immediately? Now it is the time to converge both of our perspectives together. As we see it, the interwoven relationship between the technology and the human is what makes the challenge so interesting. The target here, the publisher of media, and the consumer on the other side encounter fakes on the platforms quite differently. While the users scale up the problem, the target experiences the full impact of the fakes in form of exposure or even extortion. To protect the source, the first prototype you saw today can help us to detect fake media content using an extended version of a multimedia monitoring tool. The second prototype targets the consumer's awareness of manipulated content and gives them a choice. As you might have already noticed, there's a third player on the top who has not reached our center of attention yet. It's the fake content creator. In the upcoming weeks, we want to learn more about the motives and the technology that drives the fake creation business. Just to conclude, the two prototypes you only represent a selection of what we've done so far. It's not said that those are the most promising ones, but they highlight the strong correlation between technology and human very well. Especially with regards to the deep horse prototype, we want to direct our efforts to the areas of filter bubbles, fine arts, or private communication on a corporate and individual level. We are excited for whatever the fake media universe still holds for us, and I hope you are too. Thank you.
Stay woke, bitches.
Thank you very much, Team Rohde and Schwarz. There was also 7 minutes and 30 seconds on my watch, so slightly, but I guess overall we're fine. Thank you very much. Also, you will get feedback here from Team BLM, the museum before. You could probably know this, and you would need to provide the feedback to the team coming right after you. So when you get off the stage, not too much champagne, but get prepared for giving feedback. Thank you very much, Chantal, and good luck on Monday. Thank you.
Thank you.
So next on stage will be Team Hundai. Hello, Ben.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm not Ben, this is Ben.
I am Ben. We just need to start the screen sharing, I think.
Yes. Also, Team Rohde and Schwarz. I mean, you said this probably in the chat. You saw it in the chat box. Paul, when you shared the screen, it was a bit wacky at the beginning. So you were breaking off, and also the transmission was not the best. So maybe you can check who's got the best internet connection in your case when you present on Monday to make sure this works.
All right.
Are you ready, Team Hyundai?
We are ready. Can we start?
You can start. Thank you.
Okay. Great. So welcome. We are Team Hyundai, and we are from HBI and Stanford University. And this is our team. So our challenge is given by Hyundai is to create a system designed to enhance the communication within, between, or around the vehicle. So something about communication in cars. This is given to us by the Hyundai UX strategy team. They work on future car UI. For example, they design cars as workspace in the context of urban mobility concepts. And from the project, they expect from us to do just a free exploration of the whole design space and bring in an outsider's perspective and look a bit further into the future. So that's what we did. We started off with some immersion and observation and explored a lot of different car communication systems. Furthermore, we looked at drive-thrus and observed people going through them. We also conducted a lot of different interviews. So we started off with car drivers, and they told us about how they communicate in cars. And then communication experts put this into perspective for us, and also taxi drivers told us a lot about their passengers, whom they know a lot about. Finally, we wanted to look a bit into the future, and especially at how people behave in autonomous vehicles. Therefore, we thought of something similar, train commuters. By all those interviews, we came to 2 user personas.
So, if we now conclude what we found, we want to introduce you to 2 different people. On the one hand side, you have the business travelers. They said things like, there was a lawyer leaking real names and case numbers of clients, and I don't do phone calls in the train to not disturb people. So needs of those people are to have a working environment where they can work without any distractions, and also they have really privacy concern where they want to make sure that no one else can see what they are sharing. On the other side, we met a completely different user group, who is a driving parent. They say things like, if I am the driver, I mainly talk to the co-driver and not shout to the back seats, or my father tried to watch me in the back seat with an extra mirror when I was younger. So based on that, the key needs of those driving parents are to be able to communicate within the car without shouting, and also to see what is going on in the car. To tackle the needs of those 2 persona groups, we focused on both and built around 6 prototypes where we want to present some of those to you now. So the first prototype is tailored to the business traveler, and we asked ourselves, how might we help business travelers to have calls while being on the go? And the function for that is create an isolated sound space, so having something where the sound can be absorbed and where you can openly speak. And the other thing that is important in such a system is that you trust in it and that you really want to use it. So based on that, so testing the prototype with 5 different people, we found out that it really works. And for that, we thought about, okay, how can we test this? And had background noise on the outside of this cell that we built, and had a person inside speaking and having a phone call, and we from outside and other people try to observe that. And then we found, like seen in this chart, that at a noise level of 50 to 60 decibels, you couldn't hear what the person in the booth was saying, and 60 decibels is also the noise level that cars usually have. Then we also wanted to understand how do the users feel inside the thing. So we asked them afterward, and they said, well, it's big space, and it's actually quite nice to sit in there. They said that they imagined to be able to work productively, and they didn't have any problems with the small space due to the window. So the window was pretty crucial. So they mentioned that if the window wasn't there, so we covered it, and they said, yeah, okay, then it's quite bad to just have a black box and work in there. If we then also focus on the other user groups, so the driving parent, there we also did some prototypes. And the first one was an inter-row communication tool, where we asked ourselves, how might we enable passengers to feel like having an in-person conversation? And for that, this in-person like conversation feeling is pretty important. And on the technical side, how can we improve the audibility between rows? The prototype in that case looked like having speakers and microphones in the car, where speakers were placed at the back of the car and at the front of the car, and we tried to have people communicating with those speakers. What we found from the testing was that soft-spoken individuals can benefit from the system, and that the system has to be improved to really have clear communication without any echoes. And one main takeaway that a few test persons told us was that gestures and visual communication still felt lacking. And that was one point where we thought, okay, now we have to dig deeper on that and build another prototype.
Yes, and this other prototype was about mirrors, and the setting was that we had two persons communicating to each other, but they were separated by a wall, and they could only see each other looking at the mirror. And it was quite interesting for us that the people thought very differently about our prototype. Some people told us that it feels strange if the sound comes from another direction than the voice. But on the other hand side, there were people who really liked the conversation, thinking that it feels natural or even more fun than a normal conversation. Of course, we can not only communicate through mirrors, but also through video screens and cameras. So we placed a mobile phone in front of the car and a laptop with a camera in the back of this car, and connected both of the devices with a video call. And both test persons had to drive around and just talk to each other. And we found out that we should do another iteration of this prototype with wide-angle cameras, and should also think about motion sickness and lots of shaking in the car, because that were the most the insights we got from the persons who really use the video stream a lot. Before doing second iterations, we now want to explore other problem areas during the next weeks, like car outside work communication, and come back to the presented prototypes later on. And as we are now at the end of our presentation, we would like to get in a discussion with you, and especially talk about if you would go broad or stick with the presented ideas, and if you would go broad, which directions regarding cars and communication would you explore? Thank you.
So thank you very much, Team Hyundai. Also for your orientation on my watch, this was 7 minutes and 30 seconds. So like the other teams, slightly over, but I guess it's pretty much in shape. All right?
Okay, thank you.
No worries. So I learned the hard way that there was actually supposed to be a break, and I just skipped the break, being the tough track here. I guess we just continue now to finish our rehearsal here. So next team would be, or the last team on stage would be Team Nestlé. And if you are ready to go, I see Sebastian. I guess Sebastian is from Team Nestlé. No?
Hello. Hi. No.
No?
We're still trying to get Sebastian. Now.
Yeah. Are you in the same room?
Yes.
Oh, that's so watch out. Anyway, so I restart my watch, same procedure. You will get your feedback, if I am not mistaken, from the, now I switched my chart here. So you will get your feedback from Team Hyundai as the ones before. So whenever you are ready, just let me know and we get started.
Yeah, wait a moment. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect.
So.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So welcome everybody to our fall presentation. We are Team Nestlé from the USP and the HPI, and today Sebastian and me, Zoe, are going to present. So what is our challenge? We have the challenge, how might we design a solution that leverages digital experiences to efficiently scale global innovation and foster a trustworthy development of innovation capabilities adapted to Nestlé global culture. But what exactly does that mean? We need to better understand how people currently work and collaborate across the globe. Therefore, in the first phase of our interviews and research, we focus a lot on communication and collaboration. But innovation is the key for our challenge, as we need to find a way to improve the innovation process and create new experiences, adapt to the current globe state, but also to the culture and own language of Nestlé. Therefore, we did some interviews, or we did a second round of interviews with people inside Nestlé working in the R&D, IT, and innovation department, and also people outside Nestlé, for example, from Siemens and Lufthansa, working in the field of innovation. We asked them, what is innovation for you? How would you define the term of innovation? And what are 3 key factors for successful innovation? As we wanted to know what is important to have successful innovation. In addition to those results, we did some extensive research and had a lot of discussion within our teams and came up with a framework of 5 ingredients of innovation. So the 5 ingredients of innovation are collaboration, structure, incentives, culture, and transparency. It has to be pointed out that those ingredients are not mutually exclusive, but they overlap and influence each other. Today, we're going to focus on transparency, collaboration, and incentives. Collaboration is a key ingredient for innovation as it connects the different ideas and parts of the projects, and we are looking into global innovation. Incentives are essential to encourage innovation, given that employees have to be willing to take large risks, and transparency is the key to develop an environment of trust. From our interviews, we got very interesting insights. The first one is connected to transparency, and people have the need to fail fast and celebrate what they've learned. But at the moment, there's not really room to share failing. Secondly, there's the need for incentives as innovation motivators, especially in an online environment. And we also found out there's a strong need for finding a dedicated team of diverse people with the right mindset. And last but not least, there's a big frustration due to the lack of transparency. Deriving from that, we created 2 personas. The first one is the collaborative manager, who needs a way to efficiently collaborate with engaged people across the globe. And the second one is the dedicated employee, who needs a way to adapt to the design thinking process, learn to fail fast, and reach his goals. Therefore, the collaborative manager is an expert, if you can say it like that, on innovation, and the dedicated employee is just someone who is willing to be creative and innovative and wants to give his impact to the company. With that, I hand over to Sebastian.
Here you can see a little overview of some prototypes that we have done, and by the colors in the frame you can see how they relate to some of the ingredients of innovation that we came up. So now let's actually take a deep look into one of the prototypes, and we call this one Innovation Overflow, and came out of the question, how might we increase collaboration and motivate employees? So this is an open community for Nestlé employees to ask and answer questions and to help them connect with the people who have the knowledge and the people who need it. So here you can see that you can see the open questions in the network, and there will be questions related to innovation, and you can open them and see all of the answers there, and also see there's a point system where you can see which answers have more upvotes and which not, and you will see the best one. And you also have a search function to search for the questions you're interested for according to some tags. It could be design thinking or benchmarking or whatever related to innovation. So then we can see the critical functions for this prototype is sharing knowledge by asking and answering questions online, and also upvoting answers that you agree on. And this allows you the critical experience of validated answers. So the employees will know that they can trust the answer because the whole community has picked that answer as the best one. And for the point system, it also provides with social validation that people kind of have this reputation of answering the good questions. We thought about this prototype because of hypothesis one. Working remotely decreases the willingness to contact colleagues to ask questions, especially now in the times of COVID, where the shift has been to digital work, and people have said in the interviews that they miss the coffee corner insights. There's no much social contact where normally these questions will happen and they will ask those questions. And also social validation can lead to better online engagement and knowledge sharing. That's what we assume, and we want to test that. And the personas that we are making this for is the dedicated employee and the collaborating manager. They will be the main ones using this. And we actually tested this prototype, and a good insight was that maybe the questions can be anonymous and the answers can be public, so that people don't know and they are motivated to ask questions and not afraid of it. And you can also see that this prototype highly relates to some of the ingredients that we mentioned, that is incentives, collaboration, and transparency. Then you can see some of our next steps. It's testing the rest of our prototypes that we have. Also, we want to analyze a successful project at Nestlé to see how an idea led to a successful project and what are the phases, and relate them to our ingredients of innovation and track the whole process of it. And also building prototypes for the remaining ingredients of innovation that we have. So that's it from our side. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Team Nestlé, also for your orientation. That was 7 minutes and 20 seconds. So almost in time, right? So, and that would, yeah, thank you very much. Great job. And this would be in our track A, the last presentation in the order that you find on the flyer. Right, and from here, Daniele, David, I guess we are done with this part. I mean, I would officially thank you. I would tell everybody how to proceed from here, and that we leave this room now and move over. Yeah, congratulations to all presentations and all teams, and that we will move over to the next slide, which is today a practice of the networking session. And with the networking session will also be taking place on Monday, and today we practice this a little bit. Let me quickly check time. So what time is it? 15, and we are supposed to start the networking session. Let me quickly check my timetable. In 10 minutes. So we can basically hang out here for 10 minutes, or Daniele, David, let me know if the others are ready as well, and we can already start the networking session. Otherwise, we are a bit ahead of time. Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you very much. So if there's anybody who would like to test something on stage, we can use the time, the next 10 minutes, to do so. Yeah. I think the only thing that I have in mind was, in particular, the video of what was that? Rohde and Schwarz team? No, Hundai team? Hundai team, I guess it was Hundai team. Yeah, Hundai team. The video at the beginning that was a little bit. Yeah, Paul, exactly. Hi, Paul. Hello, Paul. Do you want to give it a test again? You're on mute. Yeah.
President Trump is a total and complete dipshit. Now, you see, I would never say these things. Someone else would. Someone like Jordan Peele.
Was that any better?
Yeah, I mean, the sound was better. The video was still a little bit, what was this, lagging. I don't know if after she says the other person would say it, is there supposed to be any kind of sound? Basically, Obama says, I wouldn't say this, but the other person would say it. I forgot the name. And then you see the other person, but there's no sound anymore.
No, that's correct. We're then switching to the presentation. I guess the problem is that, it just doesn't, like Open doesn't really broadcast video via the screen sharing correctly. I guess it's optimized for sharing slides, not really like fluent video content. Yeah. We could definitely upload it to YouTube. I don't know how that works with switching stuff around between YouTube and the screen sharing.
Maybe I mean, the sound worked nice. Just an idea. If you only post not a video, but only a photo of Obama, and then the sound of the voice, maybe this could work because it's taking less bandwidth. But that's an idea.
Might be, but I mean, then again, it's like one of the most impressive things I think about this is really that, you know, there is fake video. If you see it fluently, it really looks like Obama. It's actually great that these kinds of fakes are out there. So I guess we can try the YouTube thing, but I'm currently also not seeing an option to share a YouTube video in this session.
Let me quickly interfere. You guys should be able to hear me.
Yes. Yes.
On my bottom, where there's a bar, it says camera, microphone, and then there's this YouTube sign for me and screen share settings. You don't have this button for YouTube, it's the middle one.
No, I mean, I can show you. This is what it looks like. This is my
I have it as a moderator, Maya, but not the students.
Yes.
Okay, then I can make you, Paul, or whoever would then show the YouTube video. I could make you moderator if you guys want to. I know with YouTube it's showing a little bit better. I tried it before.
The question just is, can we then quickly switch from YouTube to our presentation, or is that going to take time?
Let me actually show quickly. So just putting an URL in right now. So wait. Well, it says it's the wrong YouTube URL. Wait 1 second. Last time we worked really quick, so 1 second. Okay, it's some random music. Okay, now I press share video. You hear some music? Yes.
Yes. And also it looks fluent.
And then it's gone. So I think it's quite quick for me at least. Maybe somebody else from your team could come on stage, shares the YouTube video, turns it off, and then you do screen share. So I think it's quite fast. And okay,
yes,
there was no.
Great. In that case, I guess Chantal and myself are going to be on the stage, and she's going to share the video, then switch over to my screen share, and then we can do the presentation. I think that works. Thank you.
Okay.
So we just have to probably get the moderation rights or somehow the sharing YouTube videos permissions for the one-day presentation.
Yeah. Who will do the Maybe in the Slack channel, you can write me the full name of the person who will do the YouTube video, so I can give them that person moderating rights. But please don't accept any people, just for sharing the YouTube video.
Yes.
Okay. Good. Yeah, I think that, and then probably put it as an unlisted video, just for NDA rights and so on.
Exactly. All right.
Cool. Oh, there was still a delay. Hella says there's a delay. Anybody else wants to come on stage to check something, please do so now. Otherwise, we can go over for networking, and then you can try out your private closed sessions. Or should we try again videos, Niels? I think it's fine now, right?
It's okay. I think it's fine. Yeah. So we have only 2-3 minutes left anyway. So I guess you can get ready to explore the networking tab now.
Bye.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye. Thanks a lot, Maya.